Welcome back to the Matt Luna Fishing Podcast. I am your host, Matt Luna. Thanks for listening to this episode. Today, we are going to talk about last weekend, which was just literally, it's Tuesday as I'm recording this, so a couple days ago. Went out fishing and took out a couple people that hit me up on Instagram. And I'm just going to tell you about the day, and then we'll just talk about a few other things. So stay tuned. Let's get into today's episode. So last Saturday and Sunday, I had a couple people hit me up on Instagram wanting to go fishing. So we worked out the details, and I took one guy out on Saturday, took another guy out on Sunday. The fishing was not good, but we managed to put fish in a boat. And on the first day, we managed to get, his name was David, his first ever drop shot fish. So that was pretty cool. We kind of focused on learning how to fish the drop shot. You know, the lake we were fishing at, San Vicente, it's got a lot of trees in it, so I was trying to guide him through how to fish the trees, how to make sure you don't lose contact with the bottom or whatever cover you're fishing through. You know, have that bait come up over that tree limb and let it get back down on the other side, because there's literally just trees everywhere. And we just fished hard all day and had a good time overall. So that was pretty cool. It was nice to get out there, teach David some new stuff, and get some fish in the boat. The next day, I took out Ivan, and we had a little bit better day out there at the lake. And there's breakers all over the place, but they are not easy to catch. I know a lot of places in the country you can throw topwater baits and catch them, or just throw, you know, different swim baits and catch them. But where I live, that is not the case. The bait is so tiny that you have to get super creative and just think way outside the box in order to catch them. I threw some of my staple baits and they didn't work. Some things that I usually have no problem catching those breakers with just did not work out. So I tried a little fly and managed one. I don't even know if it really ate it or not. I think I just got right on the boil at the right time, and it might have actually snagged the fish. I'm not exactly sure. Because it was hooked outside the mouth. I don't know if the fish just spun on it, and when that fly ended up hitting the water, it just found it, and it just kind of coincidentally hooked it. I don't know. But I got one that way, but I couldn't catch them consistently, which is frustrating because those are fish that you want to catch. Those fish are actively feeding and are super aggressive. So if you can catch those fish and figure out a way to do it, you can load the boat pretty quick. So we were fishing the drop shot in Carolina rig, and Ivan managed to catch some drop shot fish. And I found this area, and I just was kind of trolling kind of quick, and it just looked right for a Carolina rig. So while Ivan was fishing, I rigged up a Carolina rig for him and told him how to fish it, told him how to drag it, just got a little bit into depth on how to fish the Carolina rig. And right away, he ends up getting smoked. I'm standing there watching him fish, and I can just see the bite, the rod bend, and you know, that tap kind of a thing where you just see that fish bite. And he does it right, sets the hook, gets that fish in the boat. So he was pretty pumped about catching his first Carolina rig fish. And you know, that's the main thing, is I wanted the guys to have a good time fishing. I wanted them to catch fish, and I wanted them to learn something. And I know that on both days of these trips, the guys managed to learn some new stuff. So over time, I've done probably a total of 3 trips like this. It's not something that I've planned on doing, but I've had people, you know, just ask, and we worked out the details and made something happen. And I think all 3 times the guys have learned some new stuff, caught some fish, and had a good time. So those are the 3 main things that I want to focus on and make sure happen when people come fishing with me. Is I want them to catch fish, I want them to have a good time, and I want to be able to teach them something. I feel like that's the whole point of them coming out and fishing with me, and I think I've been successful so far. So that's pretty cool. You guys know that it's winter time, or it's fall right now, but we're going into winter. And for those areas that don't freeze over, if I've got listeners that live up in the Northeast and the northern part of the country where it freezes, you guys are going to be iced out here soon. But for everyone else that can fish year round, whether it's really cold outside or it's manageable all year long, you know that the Alabama rig bite is in its prime in those winter cold water months where the fish are, you know, chasing those shad. There's some areas of the country where the shad are going to die off a little bit, and that A-rig bite's probably going to go away a little bit, but you guys know that this is the time where the Alabama rig is going to shine, when those fish are really focusing on the shad and chasing those bait balls around. And one thing that I'm going to be doing here soon is I am going to be making my own Alabama rig using some Dual Molds products. I got some Dual Molds products in the mail the other day. I've got everything to make the Alabama rigs. I have the wire forms, I have the molds, I have swim bait, jig head molds, I got the hooks, I got the blades for the Alabama rig, I got a bunch of different stuff. So soon I'm going to be going through and showing you guys how to make your own Alabama rigs if you want to. There's a ton of different Alabama rigs on the market. I've played around with making Alabama rigs in the past and wasn't very successful, but Do It Molds has you hooked up. They have it so it's super easy for you to make your own Alabama rig. They have a lead head on the front of it, and then you connect all your different components very easily. It's got the swivels and the snaps already on there, so basically all you got to do is buy the mold, buy the wire forms, and you're good to go. I'm going to do a pretty basic Alabama rig for my video, and one that I modify with some blades and some different stuff on it that I think you guys will get a kick out of. And then there's also different laws all over the country. Like California, it's a 3-hook law where you can have as many wires coming off the bait as you want, but you can only have 3 actual hooks on it. And then I know out in Arizona and Nevada, I believe it's a 2-hook law, so you can only have 2 baits with hooks on it. Everything else has to either be dummy baits or blades or whatever. So I'm going to show you guys how I modify to meet the laws where I live and fish. So I think that'll be kind of a cool video. It's probably going to be a longer video, and then I'm also going to write up a blog for Do It Molds as well, so it can go up on their website. So you can check that out as well, or check out the video, or both. I think that'd be cool. Show some support for the content that I put up on the Do It Molds blog. I'm trying to do some stuff for them to put up on their blog, try to put some videos out on their Instagram channel, and put out videos talking about the different products that they have on my YouTube channel. So I'm looking forward to doing that Alabama rig project, and I hope you guys check it out once it's ready to go. So while I'm recording this, it is November, and I probably am not going to be fishing nearly as much as I have the past couple years going into 2020. I've spent a lot of money over the past few years fishing all these Pro-Am tournaments, and my finishes just haven't been that good, so I haven't been able to cash checks and pay those expenses off. I have had some awesome sponsor support this past year that's really helped me out and definitely helped me fish more of these events than I would have in 2019. But going forward in 2020, I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit. I'm still gonna be fishing, but I just don't know how many tournaments I'm actually gonna fish. I know for a fact I will be fishing the One Bass US Open out at Lake Mead again next October. It's crazy that we're talking about that already, but literally I had to put my deposit in, and about a week after the event was over, I was still kind of like depressed over my finish, and I'm having to go and put my deposit in for 2020. So literally like a year in advance, I am locked in. I have my spot for the 2020 One Bass US Open. Obviously I love that lake, I love that tournament, so I'm looking forward to that, but it's a ways off. But in the meantime, between then and now, I don't know what's in store. I don't know what I'm gonna be fishing. If I can't get out of town and fish some of these Pro-Ams, I will fish some events here locally around me. I have some things in mind, and as it gets closer, we'll talk about it. But you know, it's just tough. This stuff's expensive. I mean, you have various entry fee amounts for these Pro-Ams, anything from basically, you know, $800 to $1,000 to $1,600 to $1,700, $1,900. There's just a big range of entry fees that are associated with these events. And then you have hotel costs, you have gas, which you would be surprised how much you actually spend in gas. I mean, when you're in California and gas is $4 a gallon, and it takes you 2-3 tanks of gas to get where you're going, and then factor in $100 in gas a day in your boat, and you're at this place for a week, you know, it just starts adding up day after day after day, spending this money. And I'm not complaining. It's super fun. I love doing it, but eventually you have to slow down, because if you're not cashing checks and you're not able to at least break even on these tournaments, you're going into debt, or you're spending a lot of money on fishing, and you're not getting really much back in return. So it's just something that eventually you're going to have to slow down, and that's what 2020 is going to be about. So I'm going to slow down, as long as nothing awesome comes through in terms of sponsor money or something like that really makes it feasible for me to do this stuff. But it's just, fishing's an expensive sport, guys. I mean, you guys know, you see these boat prices, you have boat payments, you have tackle, you have rods, you have line, you have all the different stuff that goes into just fishing day to day, whether you're fishing on a weekend or you're fishing a tournament. Then you go tournament fishing, and you have all those extra expenses outside of tackle and launch fees and all these different things. It just adds up very, very quickly. And I'm bummed that that's just the decision that I had to make for 2020, but it's the right decision. I gotta put some more focus in on the family time and all that, but I will still be fishing. I will still be putting out content. I will still be doing this podcast. It's just not gonna be so tournament focused in 2020 by the way things look right now. But I think you guys are still going to enjoy the content that gets put out there, and I'm still excited to go fishing next year. So that's going to do it for today's episode. I really appreciate you guys listening in today. I hope the audio was good quality for you guys. I'm literally doing this while I'm driving, so I know that the audio is not going to be as good as it could be, or as good as other podcasts, but I'm trying to do what I can to put out as much content and the best content that I can, and I got to take advantage of the time while I'm driving to record this stuff. So I hope you got some value out of today's episode, or you just liked hearing about some things I have going on. But I want to hear back from you guys. I want to hear back from the podcast listeners. I want to know what you guys would like to hear about. If you just want to hear about my opinions on different news that's going on out in the fishing world, or if there's some like how-to content that you'd like to hear me talk about, or YouTube or Instagram stuff, I'm open for ideas. I just want to put out stuff that you guys find valuable. So please contact me, whether that's on Instagram or Facebook, or email me, whatever. Let me know what you guys want to hear, and I will do the best I can to get back to you and put out content over topics that you guys want to hear about. It could be anything. I just want to know what you guys want to hear and what will keep you listening to my podcast. So thanks again for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. I really appreciate it. I want to talk to you guys real quick before we go about how you can support my podcast. You guys know I want to fish professionally and make a living doing it, and I can't do that on my own. So if you guys want to support the podcast, that's an option that Anchor provides, so I want to let you guys know about it. If you're interested in doing that, go to anchor.fm/Matt-Luna-fishing and click the support this podcast link. I'll also leave a link in the show notes if it's something that you're interested in. I kind of feel weird mentioning it, but I wanted to pass that information along to you guys. Also, if you want to get a free ebook that I have put out, all you got to do is sign up for my email list. There'll be a link in the show notes for that as well, and you can learn about what bass eat. It talks about shad, bluegill, and crawfish, and the different times of year that you can target those forages where the bass should be. It may not be a perfect every time you go fishing way to find the bass, but it can kind of give you that yearly timeline and help you be close to the right areas where those fish are. So thanks again for listening. I appreciate it.